So, for the record, I just want to say that affordability is not a new word and groceries are not old fashioned. Americans are still struggling every day to afford groceries, but I have to say that out loud in 2025 because we have a president who is completely detached from reality and he actually says things out loud like affordability is a new word and groceries is a beautiful word, but groceries is old fashioned. And what was so interesting to watch is how he reacted to the elections from this past Tuesday when Republicans just got absolutely annihilated all the way across the board. He came out the next day and he tried to pretty much steal Mom Donnie's act. And on November 5th, he was saying, well, the reason why we lost is because Republicans didn't talk about affordability and the Democrats did. But he must have had a complete change of heart overnight because the very next day he said that he doesn't want to hear the word affordability anymore. So Midas put this together. Here's the clips side by side. This is Donald Trump one day and this is Donald Trump the next. And the question is, how the hell do people just automatically jump through the hoops for this guy?
You know, they have this new word called affordability, and they don't talk about it enough. The Democrats did.
It's the biggest reduction in cost in the history of that chart or whatever it is they do. That they do a synopsis of everything. They cover every element of Thanksgiving meals, 25% down. So I don't want to hear about the affordability.
So I just picture two guys at work on their lunch break. They're sitting around talking Wednesday morning and they're like, man, what in the hell happened last night? How the hell did we lose that election? Fox News told me we was going to win it. And some guy goes, well, you hear what Trump said? Trump said that it's because we didn't talk enough about affordability and the Democrats did. And then I picture the next day they're sitting there, they're having their lunch again, and one of them looks over at the other and says, man, I don't know how in the world me and my wife's going to afford Thanksgiving dinner this year because even though I work here full time, I still need a little bit of help and our food stamps have been cut off. I don't know how we're going to make it. And the guy turns to him and says, well, Donald Trump says that affordability, he don't want to hear that word anymore. Don't you talk about it. Your grocery bill, your Thanksgiving dinner is going to be cheaper than it was under Biden. And who out there actually believes that? How do these people jump through the hoops? It is so insulting to anyone's intelligence. It truly is. And I'm not almost, I'm actually embarrassed for them because it's like, how could you hear him say that on November the 5th? And then on November 6th, he says, I don't want to hear the word affordability anymore. And people just rolls with it. And they're going to be going out there without any assistance at all, and they're going to be trying to put together a Thanksgiving dinner. And this guy is lying through his teeth and just telling them that they've got it so much better this year. Take a look.
The cost of Thanksgiving and the cost of living through Thanksgiving and enjoying Thanksgiving, for Joe Biden, it was 25% more than it is for me at a later time. Our energy costs are way down. Our groceries are way down. Everything is way down. And the press doesn't report it. The press reports whatever the con people say. You know, I call the Democrats con men and women. They make up numbers. But when you look at 25% reduction in costs for Thanksgiving between Biden and me, meaning this administration, that's a tremendous number. It's the biggest reduction in cost in the history of that chart or whatever it is they do. That they do a synopsis of everything. They cover every element of Thanksgiving meals, 25% down. So I don't want to hear about the affordability because right now we're much less.
That is every word a lie, and it is absolutely gaslighting 101. You've got to hand it to him. He literally does have gaslighting down to a science when he says, we have prices way down. We have prices way down. Who actually believes that? Who that walks into a grocery store and gets their groceries or does the online pickup, looks at that total and says, oh boy, they're way down. And then he says, oh, I call the Democrats con men because they just make up numbers. The same guy that's like, we're pulling in 15 trillion, 17 trillion, 20 trillion. The ballroom's going to cost 200 million, now 300 million. A dude that literally just sets and pulls numbers 150%, 200, 300%, just pulls numbers out of his ass all the time. But he wants to sit and say, oh, the Democrats make up numbers. That was nothing more than projection. That was nothing more than gaslighting. I know we get tired of using those words, but there's no other word to accurately describe it. But Adam Mockler, shout out to him and the Midas Touch Network because he's absolutely crushed it everywhere he goes. And I love to see a young kid like this on CNN bringing the reality check that no, folks, we are not in a golden age. Take a look.
Here.
The fundamental fact is that things are getting worse for Americans. Over the past 9.5 months or so, Donald Trump has continually claimed that we are in a golden age of America, that we brought in $18 trillion via tariffs, but most of the macroeconomic indicators are not looking too good. For example, you can look at unemployment, it's up, inflation is up since Liberation Day back in March/April. Americans are struggling. You can just talk to anybody about it. And the problem is, Trump is now just throwing out the word affordability like that's going to fix anything. Last night he was on Fox News, and Fox, read him a post from one of his supporters, a three-time Trump voter. And the three-time Trump voter was like, listen, we're struggling here. Main Street does not reflect Wall Street's, and it's bad. And Trump's answer was, no, prices are down, except for beef. He essentially is gaslighting and saying prices are down. He then says energy prices are down. Maybe she should check her. And it's like, no, you are legit
prices are down. I believe.
Yeah.
But electricity prices are up.
Guys,
the electricity prices are up.
I have
He absolutely crushed it right there. And we did a video here on the channel talking about that moment where Trump was confronted. Brett Baer read him what one of his voters who had voted for him 3 times said, and he just said, oh no, they're way down. That's how it's supposed to be. He's so used to these people just jumping through the hoops for him that he figures he can say it and get away with it. You got to understand something. He's always looked at himself and viewed himself as a winner, even when he lost. When he lost the 2020 election, he never could accept that. He's never been able to look in the mirror and accept the fact that he lost. And so he looks at his win last year in November as being like, well, that's just, yeah, I've got freedom now. I'm the greatest president of all time. This has been the greatest 9 months in history. And you truly have to be delusional to say that. And you have to be even more delusional to go along with it and not call his bluff. I mean, if you're going to sit and go to the grocery store and complain about prices, I'll join you. I'll meet you there. We'll walk down the aisle and complain together. But you can't sit there and tell me it's way down from last year and we're in a golden age and everything's better. And you can't come out one day and say, hey, well, the reason they won is because they talked about affordability, and turn around the very next day and say, well, I don't want to hear the word affordability anymore. Y'all stop complaining. And then here's J.D. Vance. Of course, he's always going to come in. To me, he's worse. I just got to say it. He's worse because he just always comes in with a much worse comeback than Trump, which I didn't think was possible. But no matter how you slice it, I really do believe this guy's worse, and he's one heartbeat away from being our president.
And the last thing that I'll say is the American people are unfortunately about to start suffering some very real consequences because of the shutdown. In the past, when you had a government shutdown, you would have under the Obama administration, they would lean into all of the problems it was going to cause for the American people at the beginning of the shutdown. The president has told us to keep as much going as humanly possible. But after 30 days of this thing, 40 days of this thing, you're going to start seeing very real travel delays. That's because the Democrat government shut down. You're going to start seeing SNAP benefits run out. That's because the Democrat government shut down. They should stop this charade and open up the government. That's what we want them to do. We've been asking them to do it for 40 days. It's time.
And
Okay, I'm going to say it one more time, a little bit louder for those in the back. Donald Trump is a Republican president with a Republican House and a Republican Senate, and if need be, he also has a Supreme Court in his back pocket. He always likes to say, you don't have the cards. Well, he has the cards. He could reopen the government. He could get the SNAP benefits out there to people if he wants to. But he says, well, Joe Biden was just giving that stuff away like crazy. He was giving it away to illegal immigrants. He was giving it away to people that don't need it. He was giving it away to people that don't work. And when he says and does stuff like that, all it does is causes his followers to punch down. It causes his followers to punch down at those less fortunate instead of looking around and going, hey, you know what? Last year we said, I kind of emphasize that for a reason. They said the reason they voted for him is because they wanted cheaper eggs. They wanted a lower grocery bill. I'll take some mean tweets if it means I can afford my groceries. And here we are a year later. They're punching down at the less fortunate. And some of them are going so far as to say, yeah, everything's great. Everything's fine. Prices are way down. You have to be delusional to say that, and you have to be delusional to believe it. And that's not me trying to punch down at them. If anything, that's me trying to give them a wake-up call and be like, wake up, stupid. How many of y'all have ever seen the old movie A Christmas Story? I'll be watching it here pretty soon because it's always been my favorite Christmas movie of all time when Ralphie wants the Red Ryder BB gun. And when he finally gets to Santa's lap and he's sitting there, all he's got to do is ask Santa for the Red Ryder BB gun, and he freezes. And Santa's like, well, how about a nice football? And he's like, yeah. And so that's not what he wants at all. But what happens is they take him off Santa's lap and they're going to push him down the slide. And right as he gets down the slide, or as he's going down the slide, you hear the narrator going, no, wait a minute. I wanted the BB gun. I didn't want a football. Wake up, stupid. Wake up, stupid. And then he pumps the brakes and he climbs back up and he looks at Santa and he goes, no, I want the Red Ryder air rifle. And he smiles and Santa goes, you'll shoot your eye out, kid. And just takes his foot, ho, 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 and just pushes him down the slide. That's Trump supporters. If you have never seen that scene, that is Trump supporters. They just can't talk. Half the time when he's talking, they ain't got nothing to say. And then when they finally do wake up and say, wait a minute, we really want our grocery prices to be down. Well, ho, ho, ho. And they just go right down to the bottom where they started. Sad part is they'll just get back up and walk back up there and try it again. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.